Hello, hello, ladies. Hello, warrior women. Karen McCoy here. Welcome to today's chat on our three brains or our three minds. Glad you could join me today. It is a beautiful day here on Vancouver Island, and we're enjoying some nice spring weather. Hope you guys are all doing well. So today we are going to be chatting about our three brains: the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Okay, so you guys know when I do this kind of stuff, here's where a lot of people in the fitness and food avenues go, what the heck is she talking about? We thought we were going to talk about fitness and food. We talk a lot about fitness and food. Obviously, that is what I do as a physique transformation coach, right? And that part is very, very important. And there is a strategy around that we must do in order to move our vintage bodies along, to lose unwanted pounds, to build shape, to return our place to health, to be able to look and feel great, and to be able to sustain that. So it's not just about on, off, on, off, on, off, because that's exhausting to the body and the self-esteem and the results. And so I'm all about changing from within, guys, okay? So who I work with are women who are stuck in the loop, or stuck circling the drain, stuck in repeat, or they've got excess weight, or they've got lack of motivation, or aging is taking its course and they don't like what it looks like, or all of the above. Okay, so I am not just the weight loss girl. I am all about healthy aging, and sometimes that includes losing the excess pounds so we can be healthy and we can be proud. It's okay to want to look great. That's part of it. So my tool is weight training. If you're using other stuff, that's cool too. Often I say whatever works for you and you're going to stick with. But there's tons of research, and I have decades of experience. I was just trying to count it up. Never mind. Lots of experience in working with aging women. And of course, I aged all the way through to my now 60s, so I know how the body changes, and I've been coaching women all along from my 20s to my 60s, so I have firsthand experience in what happens. And there is change. Age is not just a number, and also we have to do differently as we age, because aging requires that we move into a place of wisdom and grace and acceptance, and that's also what I try to bring forward. So let me see, is anybody here? Let me see, anybody viewing? Anybody coming on, just drop me a hey in the comments, please, so I can see that I am showing up here. I'm assuming that I am, because I can see the videos going. I'll just keep going. Okay, so let's talk about the three brains. So if you guys go back, I'll just let you see that board. If you guys go back to your psychology course, I took one in high school. It intrigued me so much, I decided to continue on. So we've got the conscious, the unconscious, and the superconscious. Now, not a lot of people talk about the super or supraconscious. People say it differently. But this is where I want to go into this, because here's the deal. When we are trying to move into change, and in my coaching, obviously the change is in a body transformation. When we're trying to go into change, we must weave in the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Because unless we do, we are not operating from our highest energy source. We are not operating from our higher levels, the highest vibration, where we are coming from a positive outlook and a positive energetic sequence, if you will, where we will sustain it, because it's not what we do, it's now who we are. So people often say, how do you keep doing what you're doing for 30, 40 years, eating right and training and staying motivated? Because it is what I do, but it's not what I do, it is who I am. And so I have woven this into the fabric of who I am, and it becomes my self-identity. And so this is about, once again, looking at beliefs, looking at self-identity, and coming to an understanding of the reality of where you're at around certain things. Now, you may be rocking in your finances, you may be rocking in your career, but your body shape, your health, your desire to age well is evading you. So there's different blueprints. But what I know when we do this deeper work, the cognitive restructuring, working from in here, it changes everything, because it changes your outlook and it changes your understanding of what's possible. So you guys know, I always say, oh, hi, Andrea. Good. Yeah, I'm alive. I'm breathing. So what I always say is you need to, and I teach this in my mastery program, you need to understand and focus on what your North Star is. How do you want to live? How do you want to look? What does that feel like? Right? I'll believe it when I see it. Turn that around. I'll see it when I believe it. The belief system is in the subconscious. Okay, so we've got the conscious, and I'm just going to, so I was writing out a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to read from this so you get a feel for, and I know we all kind of know this stuff, but let's just go back into it, okay? So the conscious mind is what we operate with during our daily activities and waking hours. So it represents only a small portion of our consciousness and awareness. Now, people kind of debate about how much that is. Does it really matter? I say it's like 5 to 7%. So let's just put down 5%, okay? So 5% of our operating brain is conscious. That's amazing. It's only 5%. This is where we make decisions around, what am I going to eat today? I need to go shopping today. Oh, I don't want to talk to my mother today. I need to clean the house today. It's all the conscious thoughts. And it also is that monkey mind. You know, when we get, like, they say like 70,000 thoughts a day, I'm like, whoo-hoo, our brains are busy. So that is the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is important because it brings info in from the outside world, and we process it and move about, you know, what we're going to do with the day. So the subconscious mind, or the unconscious mind, as some people call it, this lies below the level of conscious awareness. So its physical seat in the body is the lower brain and the spine. I think that's fascinating. It records everything we do, every activity we engage in, our thoughts about those activities, our likes and dislikes about what we encounter each day. Although nothing is forgotten by the subconscious mind, important point. For the most part, this part of our consciousness remains hidden from our everyday awareness, okay? The subconscious has a tremendous influence on how we think and act when in the conscious state, okay? So I would say, what they say is, this is like, if this is 5%, that's 95%. But we've got to give a little bit to the superconscious. But some people kind of don't put anything to it because it's this ephemeral thing. But let's just say this is like 90%, 93%, shall we? Okay. So that leaves 2% to the superconscious. What the heck is the superconscious? So this is where I deviate into the woo-woo, the metaphysical, the energetics, the frequencies, whatever you want to call it. So again, if this is going to rattle you, or if me talking about spirit is going to challenge you, then I suggest that you just not watch the rest of this video. And I say that with love, because I have been in the position where I have been coaching women, and they have a very strong religion, love religion, I believe in God, or whatever's out there. But when I said the word spirit, one lady basically said, I'm done with this program because you said spirit, and I only believe that there's one, and it's all that weird stuff. So a lot of people, I find, and it's interesting because to me, I'm seeing different geographical areas. I won't go into those, but different areas where some people are very put off by the word spirit. What I say is spirituality and religion to me is one. It's walking and living with an open heart, and but some people are very miffed by it. And if that's you, I'm sorry, but this is how I choose to teach, and this is what is in my 20-week mastery program as well. So again, everybody has a right to their own beliefs, And stay true to those. Stay true to those. So the superconscious mind encompasses a level of awareness that sees both material reality and also the energy and consciousness behind that reality. Okay? Let's go a little bit deeper here. So if we have a really good meditation and feel calm, then we are beginning to experience a level of superconsciousness. So this is why I'm always getting my women to meditate. As we go deeper in meditation and experience a deepening peace, calmness, divine love, even bliss, right? Live your bliss. Then we are experiencing deeper levels of the superconscious. The superconscious is where true creativity is found. Expressions of this kind of creativity are distinctive from those that come from the subconscious. The superconscious is where ideas for truly great works of art, music, prose, poetry, great scientific discoveries, and deep spiritual experiences are found, right? So it's really important that we understand that, hopefully I won't, what did I just do here? Let me get rid of that. There we go. To understand that some of the greatest minds have have operated from a place of the superconsciousness. So Einstein was known to get some of his greatest and brightest ideas as he was slumbering off into almost a sleep-like state, because that removes us from the conscious and the subconscious, actually, and we're kind of in limbo. And when we're in limbo is where there's no parameters, there's no desire for the ego, the brain, to defend, to deflect, to control, because it's all about control, right? And that's a survival mechanism. We don't make it wrong, but all the doors are open. So his doors were wide open, and he always said that in that state was when he would get some of his ideas, and he would hold something in his hand, so that if he did fall asleep, because if he fell asleep he wouldn't remember what he was having in this lucid dream state of his, then it would fall and wake him up, and that was how he got some of his brightest ideas. So he was a very spiritually in-tuned dude, this Einstein, and he understood these three levels. So going into my world, I promised you I would share with you one of my really woo-woo, I've had a lot of woo-woo moments over the years. I always say the most interesting and intriguing people, and the people that do best when they're being coached with me or by me in the program, and excel when it goes into the body transformation or whatever they're working on, they are curious and open. So I always say you got to stay curious, you got to stay open. You've also got to have courage. And so those three components allow my women to really excel in any area, because what happens is they are going into what we call source energy. So source energy is where we are connected into something greater than ourselves. Now, we all know this state. So even the most critical people know this state. We call it the flow state. Have you ever noticed when you're doing something that's joyful, time stands still? I used to play piano for years, and when I got into a role with it, when I really got into the music, time stood still. I used to do athletics in school. Well, I'm still athletic, but I mean the other kind of like kid athletics, and I would be in a flow state. A lot of people in running get that, right? And so it's this state of timelessness. You're not bound by earthly things. You're just kind of in this space. In that space is where all of the opportunity is, because you are open to, and there's none of the conscious or unconscious brain that is saying, oh, okay, you get back to reality here. So when my son was first diagnosed, and that was a long time ago, I recall having one of many spiritual experiences, and I was in grief for a very long, deep time. But the first few months were the hardest, because I was trying to come to terms with it, trying to come to terms, and I couldn't come to terms with it. So I was grieving a lot. And for me, this is just me personally, for me, when I'm in a deep grieving state is when everything is wiped off the planet of the earth. It's almost like there is no reason to anything. Everything is topsy-turvy. I couldn't figure out what I was doing every day. So it was like a suspended state I was in because I was pretty well in shock. But in that moment, I remember going out into my living room because once again I couldn't sleep, and my mind was just, and I was just in this torrid grief period, and I sat cross-legged and I just closed my eyes and I just allowed myself to be in the center of it. And it was like, this is going to sound so weird, and it's okay if you think I'm bozo, but it was like suddenly I felt a connection to absolutely everything around me, and I came to understand that the universe is all around you and within you, and everything, it's like there was this connectedness, this web of everything and everybody. And there was like this energy floating around me. I couldn't see it. I could see it in my mind's eye, right? Because it's your third eye, but I could sense it. And I remember I just closed my eyes and I just let this little circus go on for about 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. Stay in this meditative state. And this energy on top of me was going round and round and round. And every facet of my life was in that. I could see everything played out in my life, and I finally understood, oh my gosh, time is not linear. So now it's interesting how things change you. Now when I look at things, I started to see time as like a flower that would blossom out. That was to me what time was, instead of this linear thing that we live by. Ever since I've had that experience, it has changed my world. And I sometimes get back into that, although not as drastically as I did back then. But it has changed my perception of things. And so that was the superconscious. That was all of this shit had no place to stay in me because I was beyond myself, and I had stripped everything that I thought I knew was gone. Everything about the rules of life, about life being fair, about who I was, about self-identity. I had no friggin' idea. And because I was in that place, all of that was gone. And I accessed this other realm, which is what they call, what Carl Jung used to call it, a collective consciousness, right? And so there is a collective consciousness amongst us all where we're all connected into this energy source, this divine source, through the superconscious. So that's where a lot of people doing meditation, a lot of Reiki masters, a lot of people can access that, not always, but they can access this piece. And so when you do access that piece, this is where the real change occurs. So I want to bring this whole weird concept into my work as a body transformation coach and your level of success. So I want you to stay with me on this, okay? So what I want to do is I want to look at 4 things. We'll see how much time we have. Look at 4 things and how it relates to this, and how we can change from the conscious, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds, but I don't know if I can, but I'm really going to try, but I'm afraid of failure, into the subconscious that says, oh, you're afraid of failure. Okay, then we're going to make you fail again because that's hooked into your brain. Into the superconscious that says, who are you if you change this? You're actually not your belief system. You're not your limitations. So this is total freedom to be and do and have whatever you want. So let me go through a few scenarios here, and I just thought these up. Okay, let's look at fear. Okay, a lot of people have fear of change, right? Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of going, say you're embarking on a program, or maybe you're going to university, or maybe you want to get a mortgage, and there's all of this, excuse me, this fear. And the fear is sitting there. And so there's 3 different levels where you can move through this to the superconscious, because the superconscious is your key to success, sustainable success at the highest level. So consciously, remember the 85% or 90%, the conscious brain goes, I'm afraid. I don't know if I can do this, but okay, maybe I'll try. But this has happened before, and I don't know, but I really want to try. And yes, I'll invest my time and I'll invest my money into this, and I'm going to move in and see what I can do. Okay, so that's the conscious brain. So it's filled with the thoughts that you already know, the stuff that you're kind of saying to yourself, or if you were saying it to your girlfriend, what you'd be saying, well, I don't know, but this kind of looks good, and I think the price is right, and I'm going to give it a go. Moving up into the unconscious, which is the 5%, is where our beliefs, habits, pattern, and conditioning sit, right? There's a big piece of what I do in my work constantly is probably 80% of what I do and my other two coaches do. And so the unconscious is where we have these limiting beliefs and self-sabotage that we're not aware of. And that is why 95% of all people embarking on a body transformation program will lose their gains or not even reach their success because of the unconscious. So this is where I always say, you may have your goals, okay? And we've gone over this before, guys. If you want more on this, please, on this page, go to guides, the tab under our picture, banner picture, go to guides, click on that, and you're going to see there's going to be like 8 or 10 videos in there. There's a lot of stuff in there around what I'm teaching at a subconscious level, what I teach in food and movement and exercise, okay? Metabolism, aging, all that stuff. So if your goals are, say, I want to lose 50 pounds, I want to feel energized, I want to have confidence, I want to wear my beautiful clothes again. But your belief system underneath, which is the unconscious, says, well, I don't know, you've tried that before, you're probably going to fail. Well, I don't know, what's your hubby or your wife going to think? Maybe they don't want you to lose weight, they like you the way you are. Well, I don't know, like your mom told you when you were 5 that you were a chubby bubby and you'll never get a man, right? So all of these unconscious things, and they might be conscious because you might have remembered them. I remember what my dad said when I was 12. I remember, right, what my kindergarten teacher said to me. But it is not the words, it's the feeling underneath. If that feeling of shame or guilt or frustration or anger is still there, that is your anchor. And what that means is your belief system must support your goals. In this case, with the negative talk, the unconscious and the conscious negative talk, it's not. So you will not reach your goals. So your goals then have to operate from a strong, changed belief system. This is the important piece, guys. Okay? This is why you maybe have a challenge with money or relationships or your body. Or why we, feel offended or whatever, like with a Facebook post or whatever. It's the unconscious piece of us. And this is where I will hear women say, well, that's just the way I am. No, it's not. It's what you have adopted consciously and unconsciously from your conditioning from way, way back, right? So this isn't about going way, way back and trying to change. You cannot change the past. But you need to be aware of it, because if you're not aware of it, you can't change something you can't see. This is the higher level coaching that needs to happen. And I know it sounds like, well, that's a lot. I'm just wanting to get in a great body. Yeah, but if you're not, and you've tried and tried and tried, then you need to consider that your strategy is not correct. And you need a new strategy. It's not a new diet program you need. It's not a new workout. It is a strategy rooted in the foundation of who you are at the belief level, right? So the fear then in the unconscious is all of those underscored beliefs. In the superconscious, this is where we get to look at fear and transform it. Now, some people never get there. I get that. But I will tell you, in my world, I was fearful of, well, oh my gosh, there's so many ideas. There's so many scenarios I could give you. Which one should I share with you? Okay, so I'll talk about in my business. I had a fear of investing money into training for my business, thinking I can do it myself. I'm a hard worker. And I also had a belief, unconscious belief, guys, which I've worked on and I continue to work on because sometimes they keep showing up and it's okay. We keep working on it. We don't make them wrong. That says if you work work hard, you will get there, or it's worthy to work hard. No, it's not. That's stupid. I don't want stuff to be too easy, because if it's too easy, I don't trust it. That's a belief system. That was from my dad. And I adopted it and went, I like that. I'm a hard worker, right? How to pin that award on my chest. Hard worker sits here, right? But nobody's keeping score. And I'm the only one that looks at it and goes, yeah, but I'm a hard worker. Well, yeah, but that guy's not working as hard and he's getting there 3 times faster. Oh, okay. And then you can start saying, well, he has it easier, or he has this. No. You always have to look within. And so it wasn't until, I don't know how many years ago, 6 years ago, I had been working online for like 15 years, like really working hard and not making the income that I wanted to. And then 6 years ago, I remember this guy flitted across my channel, and he had this offer to come learn what we do, a very different strategy, and we can support you in building the business that you want to support the people that you want as a coach. And I went, okay. And I actually had a dream in the morning that said, here's another woo, today's going to be different. I'm like, who said that? What do you mean today's going to be different? But I decided to stay open. And I went, okay, today's going to be different, because I had been struggling in my business, putting in like 50 hours a week, giving up on weekends, giving up on family vacations for years, guys. And I was near the end of my rope, wondering, should I just go out and get a traditional job? Like, slit my throat now. I do not want a traditional job. It does not feed my soul. I need entrepreneurship and freedom, but I also wanted to be more financially successful. So I went, okay, I'm just going to stay open to this. I'm just going to stay open. And all of a sudden, this program came along. I went, oh, that's it. That's it. The program was $12,000. And I went, oh. Ooh. So all the fears that I had about being a dad, not being able to pay the bills, because most people have that, right? Most people just make enough money to pay the bills. I had that in my conscious brain. I don't know if I can afford that. In my unconscious brain, well, unconsciously, when I started looking at it, and I do this belief exercise, which I have in my program because it's so powerful, I do it with my members, and I'm looking at it, seeing where that belief came from and who I would be without that belief. So it's an exercise that my members do. And then I went up into the superconscious, because I was able to look at those beliefs and go, who would I be without that belief? Oh, I would be up here. And I felt so connected. So this is it. And here's what I say. When the universe gives you a gift, you best take it. Because if you don't, and you let all of your human fears and stuff get in the way, you're missing out on the generous abundance of the universe that's always there. It is us that stands in the way. Us and our fears and our doubts and our criticisms and all of that stuff. So I went, okay, I'm going to take the leap. And I started envisioning, now that I paid the 12 grand, I went into debt for it. I went out to the bank, got a line of credit, because I'm like, this is it. I need to do, if I don't do it, I will forever wonder. And, change is not easy. And so I did. And so I went and I invested, and I'm like, holy shit. And I was like, what do they call that? The remorseful shopper, always taking stuff back, buying and taking it back. I went through that like for 3 nights. I sweated, and I went, no, stay, girl, stay with it. And I did. It was one of the best decisions of my life, because I am working with and still with top coaches and teachers in the world, and I will forever be with them. But if I didn't take that leap of faith and move my fear from the conscious to the unconscious to the superconscious, where I could see, if I'm up here, this is going to hook me in, because My role on this planet, because I had to get up into that super consciousness. My role on this planet is to serve. It's to help women move forward. It is to extend and broaden my life so that I am living differently from the 30,000 foot view, as they call it, and I am able to support and see other women into their greatness. I could not have done that if I was stuck in my conscious world. And so that leap of faith allowed me to move up into the superconscious, which is the connection to a higher life force and energy. And it is your ultimate intuition. I'll give you 2 more examples because we're running out of time here. Okay, let's look at, so we looked at fear as an emotion. Let's look at, see, the other thing with fear, guys, is you have to change the meaning around it. That's the big piece. If there's fear, you have to look at, fear is just holding you prisoner for whatever desires you want, whatever it happens to be. And you're going to have to risk and extend yourself, because if you don't, you're not going to bust through the fear, which is what's being asked to do. You need to feel the fear and do it anyways. That was a book I read, Susan Jeffers. Oh, I can't believe I remember that name, from the 80s, because I was going through a lot of fear, a lot of panic attacks, a lot of that stuff. Susan Jeffers, feel the fear and do it anyways. You got to do it anyways, because if you don't, fear doesn't go away. It holds you in its grasp and forever colors everything you do, everything. So successful people, now I see fear as, when I feel fear, because of that big leap I took years ago, I have been able to look at the fear that I feel and go, who am I on the other side of fear? And what is fear? Fear is just a thing. It's just an emotion. It's nothing. It's created by me. So if it's created by me, then I can also uncreate it, right? It's not a thing. And so that is how we work from the conscious idea of fear to the unconscious idea to the superconscious, because now I have a different meaning for fear that says, when I feel fear, I know I'm going to grow. When I feel fear, I know I'm going to serve better. I'm going to learn more. I'm going to excel at this one life that I have. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me check, make sure I don't have any questions here. Okay, no questions. All right, let's move into procrastination as a habit, okay? Procrastination, again, let's go through the levels. So, this is a big one, guys. And it's all based in fear. You know that. So procrastination means, well, I'll have to think about it. Well, I'm not sure if I'm ready. Well, I had one lady, and I had told this story before. It was last fall. Call me up wanting to move to work with me. And so I went through the program, and I went through, you know, what it entails. And yes, you're going to have to work. You got to show up. You got to be accountable. And this is what we do at our end. Everything's all mapped out. And she said, okay, well, let me see. Labor Day, we're going on a holiday, so maybe I'll start it early October. And then she said, oh, October is Thanksgiving. No, that's not very good. I'll go into November. Oh, November, you know what? I have a wedding to go. No, that's not going to work. And she talked herself all the way into January. And guess what happened January? Well, it's busy. It's New Year's. And I said, do you see what you're doing? And she went, oh my God, yes. And I said, you're doing the procrastination. Not right now, I'll do it later. That has been your challenge. That is the very belief system that you need to bust open. The only way to bust open is by doing something. You can't think about it. You can't get ready to get ready, right? She never did sign up. And I also didn't feel that she obviously was like, she just kept going into all the excuses and stuff. And then she actually had a giggle at the end of it, which was really good. And I went, okay, well, when you are ready and you've got both feet in, not one, then call me back. And so hence, hopefully she's found somebody to work with, because she truly, truly deserved to move into being happy again in body and mind and spirit, because she wasn't. And she was giving to everybody else first before herself. Again, there's that people pleaser. And so with the procrastination piece is a habit. So consciously, it is a It's a habit that people have. Well, I don't want to move. I don't want to move too fast on this decision. Well, I need to think about it, and then they think about it, and then they never act on anything. And that is just a habit that some people have. It's a fear thing usually, and it's about not really wanting to change or move into responsibility. And so we can find all sorts of different excuses, right? I had one of my clients, love her to death, and she was working with me. She said, well, I don't know, every time I know that I have to do this, I look at the windows and go, oh, I've got to clean the windows. And I went, okay, stop right there. Okay, what's happening there? Well, I got to clean the windows. No, you don't. And there was always, she was a busy mom. She managed a farm, and she had her kids, she had her husband, and she was the matriarch. But I said to her, your goal, again, your belief system and your goals have to match. Your goal is to get back on track with your training. You want to get lean and shapely. You want to be able to reverse some of your health issues, right? And then I always go further. How do you want to look? How do you want to feel? What is that going to look like in 5, 10, 20 years? How do you want to retire? And so the procrastination was underneath. And what it landed in was her belief. Again, we go through the layers. Her belief that she was not worthy of putting herself first, because she's always tended to her husband, always tended to her kids, always done what needed to be done first and foremost. That was her role. And that's what was expected of her. And I said, okay, that's the role that you've crafted that others have come to know. And that's the relationship they have with you. But what do you want? And can you look at it in a way where you can still train and eat well and start building this amazing 50-year-old body and put yourself in line with everybody else? It doesn't mean you're going to kick them out of first place. That's where a lot of people think, well, it'll be selfish if I put myself. And that can also be an unconscious thing. Well, it's selfish. Well, I have to look after everybody else first. Very much the fixer or the people pleaser as well. So they're all wrapped in with the procrastinator. So they can be all in one. And it wasn't until I said, it's not either or. It's not you first or your family first. You don't. This isn't Sophie's Choice here. Like, you can have both. You can say, I'm still going to love you and look after you, but I'm also going to love myself, and they're of equal value. And if you get heat from the other side, then you sit with them and say, I'm not here to not support you and to neglect my family. I love my family. This is also for me. And when I'm feeling better and looking better, I'm going to be more present for my family. Boom. 99% of all hubbies and wives support that. Some don't, guys. That's the honest truth. Some don't, because they don't like change, or they still want to be taken care of hand and foot. Again, there's all sorts of different ways of making up a marriage, right? And I'm not a marriage counselor, but what I do is help women to understand that them putting their health and wellness and their confidence and energy and vitality in place in their life is a good thing. It's good for everybody. And then it connects you into the superconscious, where you say, I love living from this place. You feel connected. You feel engaged. You're back connected with your body again. Your spirit is back in alignment again, because your spirit is a big piece of why we disconnect from our body, from our training, from feeding our bodies shitty food or whatever. We start checking out. It's because our spirit, our light has dimmed as well, just for the very act of being women on this planet. We put a lot out there, guys, and we run by rules and expectations that were handed down a long, long time ago. And we learn them by watching, not by what our parents say. How many women have I heard, they say, well, my mother told me, don't do what I do. Just make sure you take care of yourself first, and you need to be equal with your man, and make sure that you're always in self-love. You can't tell somebody that, because if that mother is not living that is what you witness. That is what the young mind witnesses, guys. So we take this stuff on unconsciously. right? Consciously, we know what we want. Unconsciously, when we can look at the unconscious and go, oh my gosh, that belief, I watched my mother give herself away to everybody and everything. And I'm doing the same thing, right? And when you become aware of that, then you can change it. Now it's a conscious choice. So that's the important piece. What else did I want to add in here before we finish? Okay, so that we looked at fear, we looked at procrastination, a little bit of the people pleaser or the fixer, right? Perfectionist is another one. We look at archetypes all the time because those archetypes are roles or personas that we naturally adopt through our life as women as a way to survive and thrive and get through life. They are conditionings, right? So we are not our roles. When I say to women, who are you? Well, I'm a mother. Well, I'm a teacher, right? Yeah, I got it. Those are your roles. But who are you as a being? And that gets a little bit more muddled. And my belief is that we're all connected in some strange way. We all think we're not, but we all are connected, and we are here to serve. And when we serve, we are moving into the highest energy, the top of the line. And I'm always looking at, you guys know, Map of Consciousness by Hawkins. When we're operating from a place of service and gratitude and self-love, we're living in bliss. We're living in authenticity and integrity, guys. But we need to apply that to ourselves, to our bodies, to our health. We need to really, really want to do the best for ourselves, because when we take that out into the world, it changes everybody and everything. That is our sole responsibility on this planet, is to always do best for self and to bust through the fears, to understand and work through the anger and the grief or the sadness, whatever, to live in bliss and self-esteem and self-love, and to treat our bodies with love, because this vessel is what takes us through this life. And it's an honor to be able to have a working body, guys. Do you know how many people don't? Or how many people lose their health along the way? Those are just choices, but we can change those choices. A lot of it is just remote control, what we learned from childhood, what we learned, or we let life happen to us. All that stuff that happens out there, it just plays on us, but it can't define where we're at. So this is where I'm always saying, guys, and I'll finish with this. Life stuff, right? Challenges, illness, the death of a loved one, all of that stuff, it's hard. I just went through the death of my beloved dog. That is like the death of a family member, for sure. And so back into that grieving process, I'm like, oh shit, here I go again. I know what this feels like. I don't want to do it. I don't want to feel it. And I've moved through it because I'm really good with grief now, because I've learned how to let go. And then I get flooded with emotion, and it's okay, because that's part of it too. But without, again, we talked about grief last week. If you didn't see that video, just check on down. It's somewhere down in there. We talked about grief, the 3 levels. There's the letting go. There's the transition zone, where I say, who am I now without this person, or without this toxic belief, or without this marriage that I hoped would be forever. So you've got to let go, and then you're in this transition where you're trying to figure out, it's like wearing new shoes. I don't know what to do, and it's very uncomfortable. And unless you're uncomfortable, you can't elevate yourself to the last one, which is creating a new self-identity and a new desire. Okay, who am I now? I'm free of that. I mourned it. I'm sad. You'll always be sad about what you didn't get, or what you didn't hear, or who you've lost. But we are not meant to live from that place. And it doesn't mean we don't feel it. But if the story is living us, then we're not living in our greatest good, right? And this is where we will fall into kind of a low-grade depression or anxiety or an angst, where, we kind of do things half-assed. We're kind of exercising, but not really. And I don't really want it to today. And yeah, my food's, I'm letting go of my food, and I've gained 20, 50, 100 pounds. When that happens, check in with your spirit. Check in with your heart. Check in with your spirit. because rarely is it ever, I don't know what to eat and I don't know how to move. It requires a deep level place from that framework of who you are so that you can create a new belief system, new self-identity that is going to carry you into the greatness of who you are, because you are great. Because you are the prize, man. Us women are the prize, and we are golden. We're like those golden Buddhas that they found in 1954 in the cave, when they were cranking out all these big piles of clay that they didn't know what it was, and one of them fell over, and this is the story of the golden Buddhas, and one split open. And all of a sudden, the guys who were like trucking out these, like, they were like 2 tons. They were on like, you know, ropes and trying to pull them out. And what happened was the Tibetan monks were hiding their gold Buddhas because the Burmese army was coming in and they were invading. And so they hid them in a cave. Well, all the monks were killed and nobody knew of them being hidden in the cave. And it was in 1954 when they pulled them out of the cave, one fell over and it cracked open and they saw the gold. Now these Buddhas are on display all over the world. And the story in that, the deeper meaning is, we all have gold within. All of us, each and every one of us, we are born into divinity, guys. We are born from source energy. God, Christ, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, Shakti, I don't know. But we come from there. So we don't have to prove our worthiness, right? God didn't make mistakes and he didn't start with us. But what we do is we layer ourselves over. We layer ourselves over with stories, with shame and fear and conditioning and expectations. And we layer until we get to a place where we don't know who we are now. But that gold, who we are as a soul, as a spirit, we don't have to go looking for it. You don't have to go to the highest mountain. It's inside, right? It's all inside. We just have to uncover. That's all we have to do. I hope that makes sense. I hope that wasn't too... I may be losing my right earring. God, you've got a good eye. Who was that? Susie. Thank you. Sad we always feel we have to give to everyone else to be good. So wonder why I feel so empty. Yeah. Fill up your tank, Deb, right? We do not have to prove. We are not here to give away, oh, you made it, Colleen. We are not here to give away pieces of our flesh to be able to support other people to feel good, guys. That's their job. That's not our job. Our job is to be the best at who we can be. There's that native tradition, or it's a metaphor that they use. You know, when you, I think I've gone through this before. I think I said it last time, but I just want to make sure you can see. When you're pointing a finger at somebody else, right, or external circumstances, or life happens, or this is why, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. Those 3 fingers mean we need to take care of self, because all we're responsible for is self. And it's not about the externals. A lot of people have a lot of hard shit going on, guys. A lot of people, I get it. And we're going to feel it. And that's the human nature, and that's okay. But when we start defining our worthiness by what people say or what they do or what happens, you're losing your light, right? And it was Marianne Williamson that said, it is not the dark we fear, it is our own light. Who are we to shine bright? I will put that up on the page because it's a beautiful piece of work that she wrote a long time ago. And we need to claim our brightness, because that is what we take out into the world. And we deserve to have, guys, don't forget, a rockin' body, a strong body to carry us through this life, aging well, honoring our vessel, and showing other people, our children, our family, how to do the same. Because if we're not, and we expect them to, that's very hypocritical, right? So again, if you're new to this, or if you haven't checked out the videos under guides on this page, go to the guides tab under our banner picture, and you will find a host of different videos in there that covers a ton of stuff. There's also a little beliefs exercise if you want to do that, and you can fill it out and send it to me. It takes like 5 minutes. I will look at it and it will start rattling loose your unconscious beliefs. And I will do a little audio and send it back to you just to say what I see, because I can give you a little bit of coaching around that. So I hope that made sense today, guys. I trust that you understand that what we're doing is we are elevating ourselves. Our work here is to elevate ourselves into the highest levels of being, of power, of joy, of bliss, of freedom, and self-love. And that is what we're bringing out into the world. And if you're stuck, book a free call. They're free calls. No, I do not sell. I am here to serve, and I can see stuff that you can't see. It's a 45-minute call. And if I see you're fit for the program, I may mention the program, but not often, because I often see that a lot of women want change, but not everybody has the courage or the willingness to say, okay, I'm going to devote 20 weeks to a program, 20 weeks. And that's just starting, guys, because we need to have a good chunk of time. And there's myself and 2 other coaches that work at a deeper level. And we've got great workouts, and we've got individualized food plans, all that kind of stuff, of course, absolutely necessary, because we got to get our body back in health so that we can get our life back in health, because the body knows our secrets and sorrows. So if you have aches and pains, if you have depression, if you have anxiety, if you have all that stuff, it is connected to our emotional world. And those emotions are energetic frequencies. Like I say, you don't have to believe it, but it's like gravity. If you jump off a building, you're going to hit the ground. So we best get on with this stuff. Okay, you guys, lots of love. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me. Any questions come up, pop them under the video, and I'll be happy to support you in those. All right. Be well, everybody, and know how amazing you are. All right. Much love.